Well, I'll start off. I'm Catherine O'Hare, and I'm the Vice President of MARR. I'm also Chief Compliance Officer with MARR. So many of you have met me already in person, or you've met one of our contractors that we have. So we have Brian Kennedy and Eddie Killing that go out and they help me with the eastern part of the state. So it saves me a little driving out there. One thing I wanted to say is we are going to be doing this monthly now, but we also want everyone to attend there's the MARR Learning Community that's monthly. They changed their day and time. So they changed their day and time to our time. So we're going to change our time. The MARR Learning Community is every month, and it's the third Wednesday of every month, and it's from 3:30 to 5 p.m. So we would really love for people to be involved with that. If you're not registered on that yet, you can go to the National Alliance site, the MARR site, and you can sign up, put your email, and you'll get reminders that the Learning Community group is going to be taking place. Again, they're going to be on the third Wednesday, 3:30 to 5. So MARR, our operator meeting, is going to be changed to monthly, but the second Wednesday of every month from 3 to 4, we're going to do. So instead of doing the third Wednesday, we are going to be doing the second Wednesday of every month from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. And again, we've changed it to monthly just because there's so much to talk about. And if we do have somebody come on to speak, then sometimes they take up a little bit more time, and we want to make sure that the operators have time to share things that's going on with your homes and programs and kind of help problem solve and work with each other. So to start off, I'm gonna Jeff, did you have anything else that you want to introduce yourself again, and is there anything else you want to share?
Sure. My name is Jeff Van Treese, and I'm the CEO. Let me give you a report from what I've heard at the federal level that happened at the end of the congressional session that ended here last week. So we, from the recovery community perspective, we didn't get the 10% set aside. That is continued for discussion next year. We were able to get, for the very first time, the federal government is establishing a national center of excellence for recovery housing. Dave Sheridan, the president of NARR, the National Alliance for Recovery Residences, is on that center. And so for the very first time, there's going to be a national effort to bring together the various organizations that deal in the recovery space, like the Fletcher Group and NARR and MARR and various state affiliates, come in and help advocate for proper funding and regulation of recovery residences and recovery supports. They were also successful in getting an additional $1 million per state going forward for increases in recovery at the state block grant funding. So there's additional funding coming through. And from discussions with our state agency people here in Michigan, they feel like there's going to be sufficient funding to do some real exciting things here in Michigan, such as developing the RECCAP assessment tool for use in recovery community centers, and to develop a national training that'll be Michigan state specific on recovery community centers. And I thought Glennis Anderson was on here somewhere.
Yes.
And I want to talk to her about coming in and acting as a speaker for content on that at some point. And I'm very impressed with Preston's beard. Somebody's been doing some work on that. So that's the report from the federal level. And if anybody has any questions, raise your hand. Otherwise, I'll defer to our next speaker.
Any questions for Jeff?
Seeing none.
Okay, Kayla, you want to introduce yourself and say any updates about the training or what's going on with operator stuff you're in charge of?
I'm Kayla. I'm the project manager. I go through all of your applications and documentation and renewals and all of that kind of stuff. The main update I wanted to address today is the MARR trainings that we've talked about several times since last June. We are coming up on June of 2023, which is when all of you are due for the MARR trainings. We have about 28 operators that have started the trainings, and that is less than half of you. So I know it's easy to procrastinate, but we definitely need everybody to get up and running on these trainings because they do take a while to complete. So waiting till the last minute will definitely leave you with over 20 hours worth of training to complete. So we would love to see more of you completing that. There's 2 operators that are done already. Recovery, or wait, who is that? Recovery Services Unlimited. You guys have been done for a while. That has been awesome. And Eastland Recovery Home looks like you guys are done as well, or you have 1 left to complete. So that is great as well. Everyone else isn't even quite halfway done yet. So we would love to see more of you submitting that. There might be some new people on this call, and if there are, you are not done until your due date. I sent you out your due date. Everyone has a year to complete this once they submit an application. All of our old operators, our previous operators that were already certified, have until June to complete this. If you started or submitted an application later than June, you have a full year to complete it. Let's see. We had a couple people ask if anyone from the program could complete it. Did the operator have to complete it? Do all of our house managers have to complete it? Obviously, we recommend every single one of you that is a part of your program complete it, as many as possible. The operator, the house managers, anyone that has like day-to-day operations should complete it, but we only need at least 1 person from each program to complete it. Let's see.
And it is free. I want to add, because, Michigan received a SOAR grant, so we could actually get this taken care of. And so it is free to all the Michigan certified operators, but all the other states, it's available all over the country. They all have to pay for it. And so again, it's just a great education on the NAR standards, so you have a better understanding. And like Kayla said, we'd like to see as many as possible take it, but that would be great.
Yeah.
Okay. Any
Oh,
questions,
yeah,
Kayla?
Yeah, we'll keep bringing that up every single month when we have our meetings. If anybody needs the MARR login training instruction sheet still, feel free to drop your email in the chat and I'll make sure to send it out to you after this meeting. But we will continue to send out reminders every single month.
All right. Wally, want to introduce yourself and say any updates that you have?
Wally Slatinsky, I'm outreach coordinator for MARR. I really don't have anything to add to this group, except just the possibility of a question in your minds, maybe in terms of some of the funding that Jeff was talking about. If any funding does come down that's dedicated to recovery residences, it will, as in course before, come directly through the PIHPs. And if I were you, I would certainly stay in contact with your PIHPs and even your CMHs to get a handle on how and when that money might be coming to recovery residences. That's all I have. Thanks.
And we're still working with the PIHPs too. And so anytime there's a site review done or findings report that has to be sent, the PIHPs have requested that we keep them involved. They want to know what's going on with the homes as well. And they want to know, if you're certified or something's happened with your certification. But we've heard from a couple operators that there's some areas where their daily bed rate has gone up. It's now, I believe, $28 a bed day in some locations. And so, because money has been coming through. So again, like Wally said, reach out to the person you're contracting with, whether it's a CMH or PIHP, and ask about rate increase and see if that's available in your area.
I think Catherine's kind of been taking the lead on working with the PIHPs, but I know over the past couple of years, MARR has talked amongst ourselves about ways, and we've talked to the state too, about ways to getting some consistency in how the PIHPs funnel money down to the residences. Because in previous surveys that we've done, there's been a lack of consistency in terms of going from one PIHP in one region to another region, and we'd love to see some consistency in that. So that's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Wally. Any questions for Wally? Hey, Kelly, you want to introduce yourself and say any updates on RECCAP?
Absolutely. So my name is Kelly Darren. It's great to see so many familiar faces today and names. I am the project coordinator for the RECCAP program in the state of Michigan, and we are moving along very well. We have at this time 18 operators actively in the onboarding stages, meaning building applications, getting their information in so they're able to start providing the RECCAP evaluation to their clients at intake. We have established an online learning system that is much more convenient than training used to be. You're able to access that at your convenience and leave off if you need to and begin again in the same place. So that's been another added benefit that we've been able that Get Help has been able to provide. We have about 11 people currently actively training in that system as well. We're working in stages. We're in the next set of emails we send out, it will have covered all of our operators. So of the 60, we have 1 or 2 operators. There's about 15 left that have not started the onboarding or met over Zoom, but that is in the process. We're getting there. So we've made some really great progress within the last month as far as getting support from Get Help, adding functionality to make things easier for everyone and streamlining the process so that we can get people onboarded.
We've also heard from the PIHPs regarding the RECCAP training as well, and they've requested more information as well so they can be supportive on their end as well. And I believe, Jeff, we're hoping to be able to be part of their meeting this month, right? At the end of the month, maybe with Dr. David Best to educate them a little bit more as well as what's going on.
That's absolutely correct. And I'm just so everybody knows, I've advocated for the last 7 years for an increase in bed rates, number one, and also for some consistency between the various PIHPs and the rates that they will pay. I'm also advocating that they pay additional funding for peer recovery coaches to do the RECCAP assessments. I'm meeting with them like for the 5th time, week after next, and asking for that. One of the things that would be helpful, and you could enter this in the chat provisions, if any of you have contracts with the PIHPs, if you could let me know what the daily bed rate is and what PIHP number you're dealing with, that would be very helpful for me to try to get that information so that I can point out the inconsistencies and the need for increases in the bed rates. My ask has been $30 a bed night for levels 1 and 2. And for levels 3 and 4, my ask has been in the neighborhood of $40 per bed night. And that additional funding reflects the fact that there's some additional support, typically paid support at levels 3 and 4. So if everybody could take a minute of their time and put down, yep, I've got a contract with PHAP out of Kalamazoo and they pay me X dollars per bed night, and if they have any additional payments for peer recovery coaching, you could put that in there as well.
I know, I believe the highest rates right now are Kent County, Ottawa, I believe they're 27 or 28. Wayne County, Monroe, and those surrounding counties are at $27 a bed day. And it doesn't matter what level you are. They pay no matter if you're level 1, 2, 3, 4. They have just a flat rate. But I know there's other PIHPs and CMHs that actually will pay a certain rate depending on what level you are. So that would be great to know if you know any details on that as well. Again, that way we can reach out and just say, hey, we see that, this could be bumped up a little bit. Your operators can provide more services and stuff and provide better care for the residents if they have more money coming in. So
Also, in addition to what Jeff said, if you're being paid directly through a CMH and not a PIHP, just when you put that information in there, just please put the region you're from, and that way we can know that it's which PIHP it is you belong to. Thanks.
any questions on this? No. I wanted to talk briefly as well, just some of the things that I've been seeing when I go out and do site reviews. This is a little bit more consistent what I've been seeing. Not everybody has all the postings up. I have like a template, basically I email to everybody when I'm setting up the site review and to have you choose the dates and times and stuff, but it says specifically, I actually outline specifically, these are other things we need to see, as well as I send the form that we're using, just so you have a little extra, it could be extra helpful for you guys to look at. But the postings we need to see are Code of Ethics. You can adopt the MARR Code of Ethics if you'd like, but everybody has a Code of Ethics with your organization because you have to turn that in the beginning with your application and stuff. So that needs to be posted, not in a binder, but it needs to be on a wall for the residents to see. Emergency numbers need to be posted, and it's not just like the house manager's number or 911. It should be things like even the non-emergency police number. There's a fire station number, non-emergency, life EMS, local hospital number, poison control. Those kind of things need to be on the emergency number list, as well as like to see at the top of the list in bold the address for that particular home. Because when there's an emergency, people are calling 911, they could be really flustered and they need to know what the address is. They could just totally forget where their address is. But if it's posted, it's a safety thing. So I think they'll be more apt to be able to read it off the emergency sheet than trying to remember when they got an urgent thing that comes up. Recipient rights needs to be posted, and it's the posting that actually has the 2 boxes at the bottom. So the one box has for your organization, who the contact would be with a phone number, and then your local CMH recipient rights advisor. And we should have them both on there because if there's a problem in your home, you want them to call you, right? Wouldn't you want to know about it before they contact somebody else, ideally? So it's really important to have your number available as well, so you can address issues right away if there's a problem. And grievance. I've been seeing more and more of that lately, that it's missing. So you have a grievance procedure for your organization that also needs to be posted, and grievance forms need to be made available to the residents. So those are the 4 things that I want to see when I come into the home as far as the postings go. Utilities as well. Utilities, that's a smart thing to put up there. What's the gas company, the electric company, in case the power goes out or something. And instead of you getting the call, they can call the utility company too and just say, hey, any service contractors, maintenance for the home, if there's any issues, they can call. And of course, the house manager or supervisor for that location. It's important. Something else I've been seeing, not a lot, which is great, but it's really important not only that the homes are clean and well maintained on the inside, it's extremely important that they're also cleaned and well maintained on the outside, because there's a stigma attached to recovery housing. And as certified operators, it's so important that we combat that. We have to combat it every day. We got people not in my backyard, they don't want anything to do with us. And just, I don't want to see a certified operator being part of the problem. You know, like fall cleanup was never done. There's trash in the yard. The house hasn't been power washed probably in years. You got paint peeling off. That just looks really bad. And it does not represent what MARR stands for, the National Alliance stands for, any certified home. That just makes matters worse. Because when somebody walks up and down the street and they're looking for the recovery house, you know what they're looking for? They're looking for the crappiest, sorry, they're looking for the crappiest, dirtiest, rundown home on the street, and they're going to assume that's got to be the recovery home. But when they walk down the street and they see, wow, there's a home with landscaping, it's clean, it's, you know, the yard's mowed and taken care of, boy, that makes a huge difference. So please don't be part of the problem. Please make sure that your yard is looking nice. So when I pull up to a home, that's the one thing I look for. Is it clean? Is it maintained? Does this represent, you know, the quality recovery residences that we have in the home, or that we have in the state rather? And when I walk in, I'm looking for, is it clean? I can tell when I walk in if there's actually a healthy culture taking place. Are there chores being done every day? Are the floors being swept and mopped? Are the counters being wiped off? There's no dishes in the sink. Are the beds being made? It's all this little stuff. And again, we have to remember their time in the recovery residences, that's a learning time. That's a learning opportunity. Some people have never maybe even lived in a house or had a bed or know how to do chores. So we have to remember that as well. And we just have to maybe walk them through the process of this is how you clean a tub. You know, make sure they have the proper cleaning equipment. You know, it should be in every bathroom, in every kitchen. Do they have gloves? Do they have stuff to scour, you know, for the soap scum and stuff? And it's really, really important, and stuff that I think is overlooked sometimes. So I just want to remind everybody about that. And the last thing I wanted to talk about that too is make sure that there's no razors, toothbrushes, washcloths hanging in the showers, toothpaste on the loofahs hanging in there, because that should not be community stuff. For $1, you can go to Dollar Tree and get a little caddy that everybody can have and put their stuff, take it back to their room. Should not be any bars of soap, community bars of soap. If they want to have soap, that's fine, but then put it in a little baggie or something and take it back with your stuff. So, because it's just a petri dish. So we just have to remember, we've all had training in bloodborne pathogens, you know, and not to mention COVID, you know, COVID and all these other things. So we don't want people sharing razors or toothbrushes and bars of soap, that kind of stuff. And that loofah that they're washing their face with, somebody else is washing their other end with. So again, well, sorry, but it's kind of blunt. But, you know, if you explain it to your residents that way, they're going to be like, ah, oh, that's right. You know, yeah, they know it doesn't belong to them. It belongs to somebody else. But if they don't have a razor, they're going to use your razor. You know, they're going to use your razor. They're going to use your toothbrush, and even the toothpaste. They have their mouth on their toothbrush and they're wiping up against the toothpaste tube, right? You don't want that to be shared. Because again, we got to do everything we can as operators to be responsible and make sure that stuff, we're keeping the home safe. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Does anyone have any questions about that or comments? You get it? I would like to introduce Rachel. Rachel Pryor, I did addiction treatment services site review yesterday. It was really a pleasure to go there. And but they shared with me yesterday some things that they've changed in this past year that has really made a difference in their program. So I asked Rachel if she would share for a few minutes what's going on with addiction treatment services, the positive changes you've seen, just because I think it's so important as operators that we share these things with each other. So maybe you'll have like an aha moment. Wow, I could try that, you know, and so go ahead, Rachel. You're muted. Don't hear you. You don't have a speaker on your computer maybe, huh? No, you
I'm
probably
sorry.
need a headset. Yeah, you probably need a headset with yours, Rachel. So we'll come back to you, okay? When you have it going, just give me a thumbs up and we'll go back. Does anyone, I'd kind of like to open the floor to the operators. I mean, this meeting's for you. Is there anyone that has anything that you'd like to share? Any positive things that you've noticed lately, or any questions or problems or concerns that maybe can be discussed as a group to help each other? Go ahead and speak up. Oh, there's got to be something going on. Some positive things. Jason, you're sitting there smirking at me. So do you have anything going on up there, up north?
I know I could share with a group that, you know, I've been doing business out of Kent County for about 15 years. And I was, you know, I'm trying to move into maybe opening houses in different counties. And I found that it's been horrible dealing with some of these zoning departments in other counties. They're just truly not friendly to us. And so I just throw that out there as one of my recent experiences of one of the many barriers that we have as part of our mission.
Out in my backyard, right?
Yeah,
That would be Newaygo County, right?
this would be Muskegon is the one that I've been recently having a lot of fighting with. They have not, you know, going back and forth. Well, they still haven't really given final blessings, but I know that one of the property owners in Muskegon was talking, with a lawyer that deals in a lot of this. He belongs to another organization, which I should have, whoops, I hit the wrong button, my screen went blank. That deals with another type of organization that does a lot of group living. I can't remember if it's for the elderly or for the mental disability groups, but she's been working with this lawyer, and he said he's had a lot of success of kind of punching through that glass wall. But I guess if we keep talking about it and through networking, and maybe we'll find easy avenues of how to develop game plans of breaking into new areas when cities are either not wanting us to, or cities that are simply not familiar with us and don't really want to do the legwork. They just want to say no because it's easier.
You know, one thing I'd like to mention too is a lot of this is education, right? They just don't know, they don't understand what a recovery residence is and what we provide to their community. And again, they automatically assume it's the rundown home. It's got a bunch of drug users, needles are going to be thrown everywhere. You know, they don't want that. So a lot of it's education. And one way is in your local community, are there town halls? Is there a town hall that takes place that maybe you can be a voice, be a steady voice of, we need recovery residences and this is what it's about. This is what we provide for your sons and daughters and mothers and dads and that need that help. And again, educating them, and even maybe opening your door sometime and just say, this is what we provide. See, there's a service involved, you know, it's a program of enrollment. They have to get to meetings. You know, they have to, we're trying to help them become productive citizens in the community. And, but again, just any way we can think of to even educate the police. You know, the police need to be educated too, so they can hopefully have our backs, you know, when we have issues. So any way we can educate the community at any time, any opportunity you have, we need to, as certified operators, we need to grab it.
That's an excellent point, Catherine. I look at it like in a two-step process. The first is an educational process. To that end, you might want to look at both the NAR online website and the MARR website for here's some facts and statistics on the efficacy of recovery residences. And I would point you back to the Johns Hopkins Medical University study in 2011 that found, and that's all available on the MARR website, that found that the success ratio of people coming out of a recovery residence was about 10 times higher than people that just stopped their service after treatment. Because as we know, recovery from an SUD is a lifelong problem. It's a chronic problem. It's not an acute problem like a broken arm or something that after 60 days you're fixed and you're all better. The second point is when you lose at the attempt to educate people, you may reach out to me, or I'm going to just suggest you talk to lawyers who are experienced in civil rights disability actions. I know of one in the state of Michigan, Robin Wagner. She's out of Royal Oak, Michigan, and she represents, all they do is plaintiffs' civil rights disability actions. And she represents the Amber Rennick House against the city of Howell or Lowell, I'm not sure which, because I always screw those two names up, in federal court. And so you've got the carrot and you've got the hammer over here. Try the carrot, see if that works. If it doesn't work, I can put you in touch with some lawyers. And you know, there's under the federal civil rights actions, there's a provision for actual attorney's fees being awarded to the plaintiffs. So you can retain the services of an expert federal court litigator in civil rights matters by just typically paying their out-of-pocket fee, or not, you know, their costs. You don't pay any attorney's fees. It's like taking an auto accident in that case, malpractice case. And so the cost of entry is typically around a couple $1,000. Assuming you've got a good case, you can find plaintiffs' lawyers willing to take on that without having to pay, here's $20,000 or $50,000 for attorney's fees.
Yeah, I found an email that I received. Yeah, I found that the other statewide agency similar to MARR was called Michigan Assisted Living Association. And that's the association that has, obviously doing assisted living always has that barrier of places not wanting adult group homes in low density residential areas. And they're the ones that were recommending a lawyer also. So I guess maybe the main thing is point I guess I'm making is, you know, there's probably other large agencies like MARR that go through the same problems. So if we run into problems of how to brainstorm this, we could probably reach out to similar agencies that have similar problems and further develop game plans.
Yeah, and that's an excellent idea. And in fact, Preston, I think the lawyer that I was talking about, Robin Wagner, she handles things in addition to ADA recovery housing matters. So discrimination of any type under the federal civil rights law. And I'll make one more pitch for RECAP. You know, one of the things that RECAP's going to be able to show the people in the state of Michigan, including your local county, city, ZBA, zoning board people, is that recovery residences work. How do we know that? Because we're going to be able to process and collect information and data through this RECAP assessment that's going to show here's the building of recovery capital. Here's the elimination of barriers to recovery. There's going to be numbers that'll be associated with it. And I compare that to, say, a bankruptcy client that comes in the doors and they say, well, show me your credit score after 6 months, after 12 months, after 18 months, because you got to build back your income and assets and Well, it's the same thing, but it's just a personal viewpoint of, I want to take a snapshot of what your recovery capital is on the day you enter the program or within 3 days after that. Then we're going to show here's the number, here's the increase in recovery capital, here's the decrease in the barriers 45 days, 90 days, 180 days out. And so we're able to put hard numbers to something that has been kind of subjective in the past, which is, how you guys doing? Well, we're doing better. Why do you say that? Well, you have to believe me that we're doing better. No, now it's going to be, here are
proof.
metrics and numbers and data that prove the success and the efficacy and the better outcomes of the stay in a recovery residence.
Great. Thank you, Preston. Does anybody else want to share something? What's going on with your program? I think Glennis is on there now. Anything new going on, Glennis, at your Home of New Vision?
No, nothing new. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we have tons of stuff going on in Division. I kind of want to respond, if I could, back to the Amber Reinach House issue with the lawsuit that they have. If indeed they are successful in that lawsuit, that could make a difference for all of us that run recovery housing, because that will be a landmark case. And I'm thinking that if indeed they succeed, we will have far less trouble opening up recovery houses anywhere. Because every county is different. I've been in the whole legal with zoning before. That took me 2 years. And we finally won. The problem with the whole legal issue is it takes so much time. And if you don't have, to heck with the money, if you don't have the time and the staffing to go through it, it's just so hard to do. And I know for me, I've been doing recovery housing for quite some time, but I can remember early on in the first 5, 6, 7, 8 years, I could have never afforded to do any of that, and with my time, energy, any of that, and run a recovery housing. So I'm hoping that this would really be a landmark case, would really help all of us in terms of opening up recovery houses just anywhere, as long as we are doing like was suggested earlier, is maintaining our properties and being good neighbors, which is the most important thing, I think, for us in order to reduce stigma, because I've been working on reducing stigma with recovery housing and recovering people for years, and that's also a real tough battle for us. So
How many years now?
30
years.
30 years. Yeah, it's been 30 years.
Well,
28.
we've come a long ways. We've come a
Oh
long
my
ways
God.
in 30 years, right? But we got a
Yes.
long ways to go.
Well, I was sitting here and I was trying not to just say anything because it's discouraging. And for anybody who's early in doing this, it really can be really frustrating. You know what I mean? Just trying to get accepted into neighborhoods and having people understand that we are worth fighting for. And I'm a person in long-term recovery, so I'm out there fighting the big fight and reducing stigma, but it's a job. It's a job for all of us. And yes, we do go to I've been going to community meetings for years and trying to reduce stigma and let people know that we're really good, honest people who really want to just make a difference in the world and, redeem ourselves and help other people. And, what that stigma is like. It's very difficult. So do we have a list of all of us with how long we've been working in recovery housing? Hi, Mary.
No, we don't have an official list.
That would be really nice, because then we could call each other if we have, ways that we work through issues. That would be really helpful. Just suggestion. I know you've got just so much more to do, right? So much.
Well, we've got the list of accredited operators on the site, that lists the contact information and the location, but there's nothing that says, we don't want it posted for the public to see, well, how long somebody's been in business for 30 days, somebody's been in business for 30 years. Just because we don't want them to focus on where they want to go because of that. We want them to focus on Is
Yeah.
that what you're talking like?
No,
on
I
the
was thinking
site?
just, I was thinking just for us.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I wasn't thinking to post it online or anything, but yeah, it just is always helpful. I relied on a lot of people for advice as I was moving through, and I did site visits to each other's places. I mean, we've done that in the past too, and so it's always nice just to go visit another recovery housing unit and see what other people are doing. I mean, we just did that recently, and we're going to other facilities to see how they're working with children. So, I mean, just helpful to have each other's, we're all in it together, right?
That's a great idea. That's a
yeah.
really good idea. And when I get calls all the time from people that want to open up a recovery home.
I
Hey,
do
we're in the
too.
process. What do I do? You know, and
Mhm.
so one thing, you know, I recommend that they do the training. But if they're not certified, they actually have to, it's like $1,000 they have to pay for the 20-hour
Right.
training, but it actually will give them policies and procedures and documents that they can use to, and it's going to educate them as a new operator on what's the best way to run my home.
Mhm.
But I also encourage them, hey, go to the accredited operator list on the
Yep.
MARR site, reach out to an operator in your neighborhood and say, hey, I'm new. What do I do? Or can I see your home? Can I see what you do? Because it's important for them to reach out. And I understand, and I tell them as well that, you know, documentation and stuff that they've spent years working on and performing. I said, don't be surprised. They're not just going to hand it all over to you because, you know, you're new, but they're always going to be willing to help in some way and maybe make recommendations or maybe let you see their programs so they can see what a well-run recovery residence looks like.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
Here's a thought, and I only have one thought a year, so I'm now done for 2023. How about we send out a survey or Survey Monkey, whatever they call those things, and get some information about each of the operators, because people are asking me questions when I go to national things like, well, how many Arab American operators do you have? It's like, I have no idea. How many people have had 20 years experience running recovery residences that might be willing to act as a mentor to
Mhm.
individuals? I'm not really sure. And so maybe one of the things that we could do as MARR, as kind of the coach, is to say, let's do a survey and make some connections between recovery residence operators that make sense, so you know who they are, how to contact them,
Mhm.
whether any of them deal with a specialty clientele.
Mhm.
well, that's on the site too. It says that they have women's specialty or if it's for men or LGBTQ. So that's on the site as well. It just doesn't list like the years experience and what their ethnic origin is or cultural. That's not listed on there. Some people don't want to share that too.
But unless
So
anybody tells me no, that's what we're going to be doing. I'm going to get a survey out that'll say,
all right.
tell me about yourself, tell me what your operation is, tell me the clients that you serve, tell me whether or not you're willing to act as a mentor to people that might have, you know, you could help. And any other thoughts that, or issues or things that you folks might have, I'll just have a catch-all thing on there and then we'll report it back next month.
I think, you know, I like the whole mentoring idea. I did some mentoring for Faces and Voices of Recovery with somebody who was opening an RCO in
Yeah.
Florida. And that was fun. It was fun for me. It was fun for them. And she hadn't started yet. And then she got working on it and she's just loved the work. I mean, it was a lot of fun. And we both learned a lot with that whole mentoring process. We're doing the same thing right now with this in the state with engagement centers. I'm working with engagement centers to go over policies and procedures, and we put together a toolkit. We're doing training in Michigan on how to start engagement centers.
Are
The
you talking
interesting-
RCOs and RCCs and you're calling them engaged? Is that the same thing? Or are you
No,
talking about something
they're
different?
two different things. Yes, RCOs, and then the engagement center, we're doing the same thing with mentoring. So we're training people in the state of Michigan how to open engagement centers and mentoring them through the process. Then we're putting data to be collected statewide. So we're all collecting the same data so that we can have evidence, as you were speaking to later, of how many people have gone through the program, or what's the outcomes that you're finding, and we're all doing the same one, so that we can develop our own best practice within the state. And I think mentoring is a really great idea. I love mentoring. I love to learn from other people, but so that's me. And
So Glennis is number one on the list.
She's in charge of the mentor.
right, no. I'm retiring in 2024. Maybe I'll come over and work with you guys.
There you go. I love that. I would love that. Well, thank you. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing.
Thanks for having this.
Rachel, is your mic working? No. So you need a headphone set that plugs in. maybe.
She put in the chat that she had some audio issues because of a recent computer update, but she
Gotcha.
put all of her response into the chat for anyone that wants to read it. And also
Thank
what's
you.
been going on in the chat is the idea of a private Facebook group. Could everyone send their little hand raise thing if they think a private Facebook group for Michigan
that's
MARR
good.
operators would be helpful?
I don't think there is a hand raise thing on our,
There
I
isn't?
don't, I don't
Yeah.
see one. Is there?
Mary
Well,
commented hand raise. Well, any kind of maybe reaction or thumbs up would be.
hand raise is good.
Yeah, the hand raising is under the reactions.
Oh, is that? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. You can do that, or love, or the hands up
Gotcha.
crying one.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll get working on that today then. And when I send up send out our follow-up email, I'll just include the new Facebook group in it, and everyone can just start adding themselves to it. And that can just kind of be like our public forum for all of you guys to speak to one another, message each other.
I love that
post
idea.
things
Yeah,
that
I
are
do
going
too.
on.
Good.
Because you don't have to
So,
wait once a month, right? You can just say, hey, I need help
Yeah.
with this. And then you're going to get a lot of input from, that's a great idea.
yeah.
Great idea.
Yeah, and we'll keep it private too, so it's just the operators on there. It's not just a bunch of random people on it. So
Mhm.
awesome. I will
Good
get that
idea.
going today then.
Well, we got about 13 minutes left. One thing I wanted to bring up is I get calls a lot too from operators or new operators. They don't know where to go to get insurance, or their insurance place that they work with doesn't understand what the recovery residence is, and they're charging them these outrageous rates and stuff. So as an operator, if you own your property, you do need homeowners insurance on that property. But as a recovery residence operator, you also need commercial general liability insurance. That's really important because it's not if you're going to be sued, it's when you're going to be sued someday. And you want to make sure you have that in place. But again, there's some places, insurance companies have no idea what that is. So there's been an insurance company, it's called Shoreline Insurance. Shoreline Insurance, they're actually a broker, but they know what recovery residences are. And I'm going to use, I used to run homes with my late husband, and we had 3 homes, and we were paying $1,200 a year for commercial general liability. We had no transportation though, no professionals, none of that. It was just the basic. We leased our homes. It was $1,200 a year. I heard about Shoreline through another operator. I called Shoreline, and as a what they did is they found me a different rate, $400 a year. So $400 a year, that's a huge difference. I've talked to operators where their insurance carrier is actually charging them separate for every single address. So they have a separate bill for this address, separate bill. No, they should be clumped together. It's a recovery residence. Yes, they're at these particular addresses, but this is a flat rate for those addresses. So, I would recommend that you contact them. Again, it's Shoreline Insurance. Let me get you the number. The person that I've worked with in the past, his name is Don. And his number is 231-755-1919. Because even, I'm sure you all have insurance now, it's required, but I would still contact them and say, this is what we do, and see if you can get a cheaper rate. Because again, a lot of insurance companies have no idea what a recovery residence is. Thank you, Kayla. And so Caleb posted it as well on the meeting chat. But I would really recommend you guys reach out and see if you can get a different rate for that. So is there anything else anyone would like to bring up or share? Anything good or different that's going on with your program? I want to remind everybody about the NAR conference. It's going to be in Michigan. Like Jeff said, it's going to be in Michigan this year. It's going to be the first part of October, and it's going to be in Dearborn. It's going to be at the Henry Hotel, beautiful place. And we're going to be looking to have people involved in some way. We want to be able to showcase Michigan and especially homes that are in that area too. We'll probably have a van. And we'll have 2 or 3 homes that we can take people to. They're going to be coming from all over the country. We'd like to show off and say, look at an example of a Michigan certified home. And and if you would like your home to be part of that, if you're close to Dearborn area, that would be great. Because we definitely want you to, we're not going to make any surprise visits or anything. But, and we also want to make sure as many operators as possible can actually attend in person. That would be amazing. Have the biggest turnout yet. So, Kayla, do you have anything else with, how many new operators we have on board? Do you have any new operators are pending?
Since we've discussed the MARR training the first time, there are roughly 4 or 5 new operators.
Okay. Good. I see I think there's a few in the Detroit Wayne area that are trying to get up and running and stuff. I did get a call today from someone who bought a apartment building in Wayne, and her husband are looking to certify that and get that up and running and stuff. So that was just one I spoke with today. It's probably 3 or 4 times a week. It seems like I'm speaking to somebody that's reaching out and wanting to open up a home. So Glennis, I appreciate everything you do and all the mentoring.
Thank you.
My late husband and I had Touchstone Recovery, which isn't around anymore, but Glennis was she was the big reason why it got up and running the way it did, and shared policies and worked very closely with Kevin on getting that going. So I appreciate the operators that are willing to reach out and help another operator. It's not competition. Don't look at it as competition. We need thousands more homes and well-run operators and in every community. And to show somebody that's trying to come on board, show them your home and to show them this is how it should be done is huge, because otherwise they're just going to kind of wing it and do their own thing, and that could just be part of the stigma issue. So I appreciate everyone that's willing to reach out and help a up and coming operator.
Yeah, now that we're gonna have a Facebook page, a private Facebook page
know,
for them,
that's exciting.
we'll have a place
I
to
actually got
refer.
goosebumps when they said that too. I'm like, that's
Yeah.
a great idea. Never thought of that.
Yeah, we'll have a place to refer
Yeah.
all those people that ask about opening a home, or if they have any advice or anything like that. That'd be a great place to send people, because that's where all of our Michigan operators are. That's where people can get their questions answered and reach out for help and suggestions. So
Yeah, so like in a
FYI.
new person, we can just say, go to the chat and look, and we could actually have categories, like how to exit somebody or issues with this or that. We can have categories on the Facebook page so people can just that category and see all
well,
the
when
chat.
people post things, you can actually search on the Facebook page specific like keywords that'll bring up like all the posts about those things, about that topic. So yeah, we'll see how it goes by the time our next meeting.
So the next meeting will be the second Wednesday of February, and that's going to be, what is that?
The 8th.
That's going to be the 8th. So our next meeting is going to be the 8th of February from 3 to 4. And this is mandatory that if you can't attend, that we get it, there's life, things happen and stuff, but it is go to the MARR site. It is on the YouTube. Just click on YouTube and you can go right to the meeting and review it, because we cover some really important stuff sometimes. And even like some of the stuff we talked about today is something that could be really beneficial to everybody, and we want to make sure everybody's on the same page. So please, if you can't attend a meeting for whatever reason, please go to the YouTube and at least review it at your own convenience. Does anyone have any
FYI.
questions?
Yeah, FYI, we've, just to give the members here some idea of the scope of the group. We've grown to now having over 62 different operators with over 250 plus different separate residences that contain roughly 2,500 beds.
Can you repeat that, please, Jeff?
Sure. And we report this every month,
Mhm.
to Wayne State, but we've got 62 operators with over, I think Kayla can give me the precise number, but it's about 270 different separate locations with just under 2,500 beds.
Mhm.
We've got 2,500 beds.
It was
We need-
actually just updated on our website today too. Our website under, let's see, where is it under? Our vendor, it should be under statistics.
Yeah.
Yeah, our website under statistics. And also our YouTube, our MichiganARR.com website, YouTube is right at the top as well. There's a tab for YouTube for those who are wondering.
So that's all the social media stuff. So, yeah, so anyway, the group is
Thank
getting
you.
stronger and stronger. We're getting a much louder progressive voice. The need is probably somewhere around 10,000 beds based upon what they have in other states where they've grown recovery residences. So we're about 25% of the way there. And we hope to have sometime in the next 2 or 3 years, 10,000 beds. Because that's what the need is. Let me ask one other question for my own purposes. For those of you who have had a biological woman, trans man going into a men's residence, there is some guidance on that at the MARR website. And that's been successfully accomplished at least 3 times in 2 different programs here in the west side of Michigan. So, but if anybody has had a situation where you have a biological man, trans woman requesting to go into a woman's residence, I'd like to know about it. Because that is a subject that's currently in front of the NAR board, Standards Review Board, on how to deal with that situation. So if any of you,
Successes, challenges, yeah, all of it.
yeah, so if any of you have had that circumstance arise where you have a biological man / trans woman asking to be placed into a biological woman's residence, please let me know because I'd like to talk to you.
Yeah, why don't you, Jeff, you and I probably need to have a conversation because I have an example of that too. And then, because that's very tricky.
Well, yeah, you have to balance interests, and the interest is, what do you do with the requesting party versus the body of women who are in a women's residence who might be triggered because of some history of sexual abuse or issues that arise from that that might be triggered by having a trans woman as a roommate.
Yeah, and
Well,
at
and-
some point you can also reach out to me, Jeff, because I currently have one and I've had a separate one instance like this in the past. So I could give you some feedback also.
All right, thanks. I'll reach out to both of you. Thanks.
Now, can I just say something to that? One of the things that I would have been wanting to do is I believe that that's a population that deserves much respect. And I really would like to, my goal is to open up a specific trans house. We have specific MAT houses, Medicaid Assisted Treatment houses for people that's dedicated to just that population. I really believe that trans would be something that would really benefit our state and really lead and lend to the diversity in recovery as well. So I really am respecting all of that. So that would be something I would like other people to consider as well. Community makes a big difference. It's always different in everybody's community, not just zoning, but acceptance and, knowledge and.
A big part of their
Yeah.
recovery is being accepted.
That's
Exactly.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. So,
Thank you, everybody, for
Yeah.
attending today. I really appreciate it. And again, it's nice to see everybody's faces and so we'll see you on the 8th, hopefully, 3 to 4. And if you can't make it, look at the YouTube. Thank you, guys. Take care.
thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Glennis.
Bye.